You are a stain on this lineage. Albert Maxwell's voice sliced through the strained quiet of his formal study, utterly devoid of inflection. He did not blink as every gaze in the room swung towards me, nor did he acknowledge the tremor in my hands. Your chosen profession, he articulated, his volume increasing just enough to ensure the condemnation reached every corner, is an absolute disgrace to this family's name. And in that precise moment, after 31 years of containing my aspirations, of meticulously folding my dreams into a neat, silent package, I exhaled. I rose, deliberately tucking my chair beneath the polished mahogany, and met his eyes squarely. You are absolutely correct, I stated, my voice steady. My presence here is unwarranted. And then I simply walked out of that house, out of their lives. No clamor, no histrionics, just the profound quiet of a closing door. They had never once truly understood me. From the age of 12, when I'd first architected a complex data structure, I knew my trajectory was set. But to them, the digital realm was merely an irritating hum. My father envisioned doctors, barristers, individuals clad in crisp, starched collars, extending hands with inherent dignity. Not someone who forged code. Not someone who arrived at high-stakes meetings in minimalist, tailored attire, and amassed wealth through what he derisively called computer games. He never expressed pride. Even after I divested my third venture, even after a single transaction yielded more capital than his 20-year career combined, he would only stare, as if the accumulated wealth were tainted, as if I myself were defiled. Yet, I persisted in showing up. For birthdays, for festive gatherings, for obligatory family assemblies, I continued to attempt connection until the day my sister became ill. Astria Sterling. Stage for hepatic carcinoma. Sudden. Aggressive. They did not inform me. I learned of it through an overheard hushed conversation at a distant family social event. When I arrived unannounced at the private ward, Myra Gaines, my mother, offered only a taut, almost imperceptible nod. Albert remained stoically silent. Astria, frail and pale against the stark white sheets, managed a weak, almost ethereal smile. We hadn't genuinely conversed in years, not for malice, but because my father had systematically ensured my perpetual exclusion from the familial core. Still, her emaciated hand reached instinctively for mine. Still, I settled into the chair beside her bed. I assured her I would provide all necessary assistance. Tears welled in her eyes. I meant every word. A month and a half later, the familial conclave convened. The same imposing study, the same frigid atmosphere. They presented their proposed medical strategy like a high-stakes corporate takeover. Overseas specialized treatment, cutting-edge clinical trials, private air charters, luxury accommodations. The cumulative expenditure, they declared, totaled 100,000 units of currency. Every eye, from the most distant cousin to the sternest aunt, swiveled to me, as if I were a pre-programmed dispenser awaiting their activation code. Albert leaned back in his leather chair, a deliberate clearing of his throat preceding his pronouncement. You carry a responsibility to your sister of this magnitude. I offered no counter-argument. I merely stated, I will consider it. That was the precise moment his composure fractured. That was when he labeled me a stain, declared me an egregious misstep, proclaimed I had brought shame upon him. And that was when I walked away. But I did not disengage. I returned to my secure workspace and commenced a meticulous audit for a crucial inconsistency nagged at me. That purported medical itinerary? It was not 100,000 units. At most, it was 40,000. Where then was this 60,000 discrepancy flowing? I initiated discreet inquiries, dispatching encrypted messages to the hospital's finance department, contacting a trusted contact in global healthcare logistics, even reaching out to the lead physician overseeing the clinical trial. And then I saw it. The official treatment package, originally forwarded to my father's secure terminal, contained a cleverly inserted line. Consulting fee, $60,000. Wire transfer to alternate account. The beneficiary account belonged to Blaine Jensen, my cousin, the perpetual debtor, the chronic borrower, the professional transient. It was an elaborate deception. They were cynically exploiting my sister's critical condition as leverage, attempting to extort me, to milk me for misplaced empathy, manufactured guilt, and readily available cash. Something within me finally fractured then. not in a fit of rage, but in a moment of absolute, chilling clarity. And so, I formulated a precise counterplan. I arranged a quiet visit to Astria's bedside, informing her I would personally underwrite her entire treatment, every single cent, but that the funds would flow directly through the official hospital channels. No intermediaries. No family involvement. She wept again. This time, she inquired as to my reasoning, and I responded, because you are the sole person who has ever truly asked nothing of me but my time. Next, I dispatched a cryptic, direct message to Blaine Jensen, confirming my comprehensive knowledge of his scheme. I then outlined, in stark terms, the impending scrutiny from regulatory agencies if he failed to repatriate every single dollar he had embezzled from family members over the years, detailing the irrefutable evidence I possessed, every dubious wire transfer, every concealed deceit. He choked. He pleaded. I granted him a non-negotiable 7-day window. Following that, I meticulously assembled the digital package. Subject line, regarding the recent family deliberation. I attached irrefutable screenshots of the doctored invoice, the fraudulent consulting fee, and the incriminating digital exchanges between Blaine and Albert, explicitly detailing their planned profit-sharing arrangement. Then, with a singular, decisive click, I disseminated it to every single family member across their private networks. No accompanying explanation, simply unvarnished facts. By the time Albert Maxwell's call came through, the digital firestorm was already raging. My secure communication devices were vibrating incessantly with messages from agitated relatives, some expressing genuine shock, others offering belated apologies, a significant number feigning absolute ignorance. For once, I allowed him to speak. I allowed him to plead. It was a grave misunderstanding, he stammered. You are escalating this beyond all proportion. We require your support. Your sister requires your support. I permitted a lengthy, deliberate silence to hang between us. Then I stated, you are correct. Astria needs me, and I am already providing her with comprehensive assistance. However, Albert, you require monetary resources, and you deem me a stain. Therefore, I suggest you seek out your esteemed pride. Allow it to settle your accounts. Then, I disconnected the call. Weeks have elapsed. Astria is steadily recuperating. She sends me a brief text message daily. We exchange old movie quotes, finding shared amusement in the mundane. She is growing stronger, her spirit rekindled. As for Albert, the truth circulated far beyond the family's inner circle. His long-standing associates, his revered civic group, the potential investors he so desperately sought to impress, they all witnessed the irrefutable evidence. It appears nothing dismantles a man's carefully constructed facade quite like public exposure engineered by his own offspring, especially when that child is the very one he diligently spent decades attempting to silence. I never raised my voice. I never orchestrated a public spectacle. There was no need. I merely permitted the truth to articulate itself. I let the resounding silence make them truly suffer.